Schaefer.
Yes.
Tripe.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we are going to move on to approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 5, consent calendar. We have any discussion items on consent calendar?
Mr. Chair, I would like to pull item 5E from the consent calendar for more discussion by the board.
All right, we are going to pull 5E as a discussion item. Is there anything else on there? Okay. All right. Approval of consent calendar with the exception of 5E, that would become 8I.
We can just handle it right after, Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Okay.
let's just handle it right after.
Okay. All right, approval for consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Lisa, for a roll call?
Miller.
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Tripe.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes. Okay, 5E, approved concert in Lyman P. White Park. That is our concerts in the park. I am going to abstain from that vote since it is presented by my employer.
I'll make a motion to approve the application request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second from Andrew. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And I abstain. Motion passes. Moving on, 7A, approve ice skating area and fencing improvements at J.C.'s Park.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. So JD and the mayor and I, we, with the other staff, Troy, and are you guys hearing that echo?
No echo.
Are you good? Okay. And so we met out at JC Park, and there's some improvements that are needed. And for us to complete that, we'll need to get a road into that ice rink area for us to dump off and level that a little bit. We're not going to be leveling it from the soccer field all the way to the trees. It's just going to be slightly lower than that. So there's a little lip, if you will, for the soccer field. And also the gate for the service road, there should be, if you can put that up on the screen. That item preview. So we received a bid, 2 bids. One for fencing for the complete project, and another bid for just the service road with a gate. So the one option is to have rocks between the soccer field and the parking lot, and then just a gate for the service road. Or the other option is just to have no rocks with a gate on both sides to make an L, if you will. So that is the, overall proposal for that. And do we have any discussion items?
So when we met on the south side of the parking lot in the fields, there's room to do a service road to get back there. We would need that service road to not tear up the soccer field that we just put in there. And then also there's sand and stuff brought in for the baseball fields every so often, and they would use that service road as well. It's actually going to be lower than the soccer field, so you wouldn't necessarily see it from the parking lot. And then there was discussion about fencing. Currently, we have those rocks there to prevent people from going onto the soccer field with vehicles. We could do a full fence or just the very end, there would need to be a fence with a gate to drive through. If we do a service road, we'd have to have a gate to prevent cars from going back on that road, and that would butt up by those rocks. I'm in favor of just the gate, not the full fence. I don't like the idea of a fence throughout the whole area.
We approved the service road last time, right? Like last meeting, and then, or did we approve it? I thought we.
We approved the leveling of the ice skating rink, but then when the crew and I went out there, we're like, how do we get there? And so that's when we had to reassess, look at a service road. I know service roads aren't very popular, but they're critical yet at the same time for park development and maintenance and maintaining the park properly.
JD? I think at the last meeting, we all decided that we wanted to keep the rocks and we didn't want to do any fencing. And then you guys were going to have your team like put like weed killer around those or something so we could keep the rocks. And then I think we were just waiting to see what the pricing was on the gate. We were all,
Right.
I think that's what we were waiting on.
And the price for the gate is on the agenda.
Yep.
It's $1,600. And this is all installed. It's just not galvanized. This is a black material, so it blends into the natural surrounding a little bit better, and it will have a better look.
So the quote for the gate, Mike, is the gate only with hinges, latch posts for $1,252 and the install gate price of $340.
Correct. It's those two together for a total of $1,592.
We did not do the service road. Kara, we did not do the service road at the last meeting, I found in the minutes.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of the workshop. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the idea of keeping the rocks along the soccer field, but we do need some sort of control measures where the service road will be, because currently there's nothing there.
Yep. I would say a gate. I mean, I don't want to do any fencing.
What kind of gate are we talking about, Mike? Is it a chain link fence gate or is it just a swing gate like goes to Evergreen Landing or?
No, it's not a normal galvanized. This is a black power coated gating with that, those old green, it was coated with green so that the gates would blend into the grass. Those didn't do so well, so they have another mechanism, another material that is black, and it blends in so it doesn't look like an old galvanized. This will look more appropriate, more professional, and it's a gate on. There is some fencing, like on that diagram indicates, and it's a 2-swing hinge gate or a 12-foot opening.
There would be, Mike, there would be chain link fencing just along the very south end, like that 50 or so feet of the parking lot where it's green on your map. And then there would be a
Correct.
12-foot gate in the middle.
Correct.
I think that would be fine. It's not fencing right out in the open, and there's no other way to prevent traffic from going back there. Yes, Andrew?
You can see where the 12-foot gate line with that arrow is, and then on both sides of that gate, there's normal fence. So there'll be normal fence to get to the rock, to the service yard with a gate, and then another fence from the gate to the woods.
Andrew, did you have anything? Yes.
Yes. What would the service road be made of? Like, are we paving?
Right, well, first, we're gonna be shooting down crushed granite. That will sink in a little bit more, and then it'll be class 5 on that.
We think that's gonna survive the swamp that's 5 feet south of there?
Yes, if it's not wet, as you all know, there's times where that park is underwater.
But we're
That is
gonna
our
run dump
only
trucks on that
service
road.
to get into there. We could do it from the other side, but now it's gonna be totally exposed and very well visible.
Yeah, I guess
Because
we're,
we still were gonna need to get a service road to service those lights. And we also, well, they used part of that to install the scoreboards that were brand new there.
I guess what I'm coming from is we specifically chose a year ago to not make the paved path wide enough for vehicles because we didn't want to be driving through the park. And now we're going to build another road and fence it. I guess that's just not making a lot of sense to me.
I understand that perspective. From another perspective, designing a park with amenities inside, a ball fields, a restroom, warming house, you need to get a vehicle literally in that park to service those. And that is just a design of a park. Yeah, unless you want individuals to walk to and from the parking lot to empty the trash, to change the toilet out, to work on the sinks, whatever those amenities are. We will always be able, well, we will always need to have those lights to be serviced and the score clock to be serviced.
Sure, I'm just confused though because this road doesn't go near any of those amenities. It stops at the ice skating rink.
And then we can get around the ice skating rink and to get up to the backside of those fields and then also into that rest area.
So they would just be using the green space and to access other amenities. Basically, the service road is strictly for building it the way you're talking, Mike, with the crushed granite and the class 5 to provide enough structure to at least get around the soccer fields rather than tracking a vehicle over the soccer fields or down the trail or whatever it may be. This is just getting you basically past the soccer field so we don't have to run vehicles across the newly graded soccer field is kind of the way I'm seeing it. And then
Right.
once you're into that green space on the backside, the hope is it's going to come down to how wet is the park that certain year and who needs to get in there with what equipment, because once you hit that green space, you're going to have the potential of creating kind of a mess in that green space, given kind of the low nature of everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
If you look on that service road, there's a concrete pad already there where we dump our ball field gravel and dirt for the ball field. So the truck will also be utilizing for that.
But like to your point, Paul, if we have to service those lights, we're gonna get on the soccer field because we have trees and boulders on the western ones. I guess I'm still just not understanding the need, or like, why not put class 5 around the paved path that we already have and just say we're gonna drive there?
The idea of doing the service road over here is to eliminate the nature of vehicles in the park and keep it off to the edge, not right through the middle of the park. If you go around the path that's already there, you're literally putting a service road or a road right through the middle of the park, which kind of kills the idea of a green space park. So this is what I see as the best solution, is to keep it right on the edge so it's not right in the open in the center of our park.
They just said they're gonna drive to the bathrooms.
Well, I mean, Mike, keep in mind, vehicles are not allowed in parks unless absolutely necessary, and driving to the bathrooms to clean or restock is not a necessary item. So they would still need to park in the parking lot and walk for that. The service road is only for absolutely necessary items, like delivering the ball field dirt, filling in the pleasure rink, working on equipment back there.
Where's that coming from?
I do agree it's the best option, honestly. I think it keeps the visual quality of the park generally what we were planning on to begin with. I think having a gravel driveway through the middle of the park wouldn't be the greatest look in the world. I think city staff is just gonna have to use their best judgment on when that service road becomes unavailable because of issues with high water or soft ground once you get off the service road, that we're just gonna have to use our judgment when using that to make sure that it's hard enough that we're not gonna do damage to the green space or the road itself or whatever that may be.
Do we have any other questions for staff? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
Is the fencing absolutely necessary around the gate? I mean, I guess aesthetically, maybe it makes more sense, but I mean,
People will drive around it. I mean, you could put boulders too.
yeah, we had a resolve to putting boulders around the fence in Gregory when we originally wanted to put one in there. So, I mean, again, aesthetically, if the gate, a different gate design fits better with boulders, I'm just more in favor of boulders around the entire parking lot and just doing away with any chain link sort of situation, but.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can get a couple boulders. I think that was like our whole vision, was to try to be like less fancy, more natural. And maintenance wise, a boulder is not going anywhere.
And then, so if we put boulders where the service road are, we just move them?
Oh, you would still have the
bring
gate, Mike.
bobcat?
So just the gate, no fencing on either side of the gate. Just replace the fencing with boulders.
Yeah, keep the gate. Let's just use some rocks instead of fence.
Okay. Got it.
I like that.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, yeah. Were you making that or do you want me to?
I can make it. Yeah, I make a motion to approve this with the boulders instead of fencing, utilizing the 12-foot gate and the service road as described.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Andrew?
Is there a lock on the? It's like the two swinging. So do we have like a chain and a lock on that?
Right,
Cool.
correct.
Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second for boulders with a 12-foot gate and the service road. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to new business 8A, approval of additional agreement with the Brainerd Baxter Baseball Association.
Thank you, Mr. President. So staff, we are asking for approval for the BBVA to use our equipment and have access to our baseball facilities. We just didn't have this in the original agreement, and it was in 23, I believe, but not, or in 25. It was in one document, I forget exactly which one it was, but we didn't have it in the 25 operation, so we're having a addendum, if you will.
Okay, Lisa had reached out to me and asked about this because it was missed from the original agreement, but it's something that had happened in the past. And I asked her to put it on the agenda so we can have the approval of that. You guys have any questions for staff? Andrew?
Can we just update the name of the city administrator to be Nick instead of Jennifer?
Is this the old one from 2023?
Probably.
That has Jennifer's name on it.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just for equipment usage at the fields, right? During.
Equipment usage at the fields and access to the equipment.
Got it. I'll make that motion to approve the agreement as written with that change with the city administrator.
Second.
I have a motion from Paul, a second from Jonathan, to approve the motion with changes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8B, approval of Buffalo Hills expenditure for hydro seeding.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the project is now complete, and there's $1,000 remaining in the budget. We decided to hydro seed those berms and the rest of that area, and that total invoice was $3,500. Subtracting the amount that is remaining from the construction projects, we'll need $2,485 to code to another item. In talking with Connie in finance, the best appropriate spot would be our Parks Weed and Seed program. There's $25,000 budgeted, and so far we've only spent $14,000. Or no, I'm sorry, that's our other one. I have 3 items that will need funding. I had made notes, and that was the fall protection stuff that we'll talk about a little bit later. The hydro seeding is the $25,000, and there's nothing yet budgeted to that line item.
So we still have $25,000 in our weed and seed for the season? Okay.
Correct.
Do we have any other questions for staff? Andrew?
Do we have other plans to use that? I feel like this is kind of our prime fertilizing and overseeding season.
We will be using this money also, this line item, for once the J.C. Park, Buffalo Hills gets seeded and the grass is growing, we will be fertilizing those areas also.
Cool.
So do we have additional funds available out of the 25,000 to use out of here?
Last year, we didn't use all of this, and that's why I met with Connie to look at past history, and she's comfortable that we won't need extra money in this line item, that the 2,400 will be fine budgeted in this line item.
Question.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I think a few years ago, we had entered into some contracts with a vendor for fertilizing certain parks and green spaces and making sure we have adequate weed and feed put down in those parks.
Right.
Is that something that the city is still doing with a vendor to, like, I think Gregory was on that list, some areas of Lum and a few other spots for like a weed and feed actual program where they come by and hit it, like 4 times a year? Is that still under contract, or is
Yes, that is still going on. I'm not sure if it's 4 times a year or the number of times, but Troy and I have spoken. He's scheduling that right now.
Okay.
And we are also looking at, he wanted to do something at Memorial. The soccer area, it hasn't been touched in a couple of years, so we wanted to do something there.
How much is our current contract with them? With I forget the name.
Was it Jared's
I'm
lawn
not sure
that
how
was
much
doing
what
that?
our contract is
I remember I
with them.
emailed you about it a long time ago.
I know, yeah. I was trying to think who we entered into we got like 3 quotes back then and worked on it with Kevin, I think, too. Outlined a bunch of maps and areas that we wanted done. And I thought we were going to burn through that whole budget. Stout, yeah, that's what it was. I mean, all in all, I think this is a necessary ask, regardless of the weed and feed program. I think the hydro seed provides a ton of value. It prevents erosion and keeps everything in place and gets things growing, keeps the moisture in the ground. So I'd be willing to make a motion to use that $25,000 budget to cover the additional costs of the hydro seeding outside of the budgeted funds. And then I would just ask that Mike comes back with an update on that weed and feed program for us at the next meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve hydro seeding out of the weed and feed funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 8C, approval of grand opening at Lum Park.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we want to do some type of grand opening at Lum Park, just to put a feather in our hat. The park looks amazing. And we already have, if you haven't been there, we had, I forget the exact vendor, another vendor out there to clean up the beach. And it looks pretty good. We also have individuals from the National Guard coming in on the 21st to continue doing some improvements there. And we wanted the grand opening a little bit later than that. Lisa has found out that, I forget the date.
June
27th.
27th.
So we were looking at the 27th. But that's also another big event that day. So we could either have it on the 23rd or the 25th, so that the ski loons could be there and do a performance also. So is the park board open for a grand opening event? And if so, what date would you like to have it?
We're talking the 23rd or 25th of June, that Monday or Wednesday?
Correct.
Okay. I'm not necessarily sure. I think a grand opening should maybe be on a weekend day, but yeah, I mean, if that's all that's available to us, I suppose. But yeah, I think I'm very much open to it. But yeah, Monday through Thursday are probably not prime days for a celebration like that, I think.
We could have it the 14th. We are just looking at the 21st. We're gonna be having a large group of individuals to really clean up that beach. That was a big priority for the park board at our workshop. So we rearranged our individuals to go there and really clean it up. So we could have it earlier if you would like. Or we could just have it. So we're looking at the calendar. The 28th is that weekend with a big concert at the BIR. The next weekend is July 5th. We could do it the July 12th.
I have a comment, Mr. Chair. Mike, I haven't been over there in a while. How's the status of like the grass and things growing in that park? I think it would behoove us to push it a little bit later to give that grass the most amount of time possible before we have a bunch of people walking on it, potentially damaging it,
Right.
and let it grow through all the month of June. And I think that would help a lot.
Do you like the
Troy is
weekend
gonna be
after the
working
4th?
on the grass over there because it is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be in line with that
I have something.
motion and an idea.
Kara?
What, have you guys thought about partnering it with a Ski Loons Day already? So that it's like, just come out early and get in the park and celebrate?
We are working with them. I did get an email today with maybe a suggestion of doing it on a show day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, everyone's already coming there and it's a weekend
Yep.
and it's already on the calendar, so people would be.
Right.
Then we're not adding another day to the people that live around the lake or use the lake.
So I have those dates of their events. Those aren't until July. They're Sundays mostly, so we could have it on a Sunday. July 13th, 27th, on August 10th or August 13th are those event dates.
July 13th is
I think mid-July works perfect.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
perfect. Yeah, let's just rip July 13th, I think.
Okay.
I'll make that motion to hold the event on July 13th, Sunday, July 13th.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to host the grand opening on July 13th. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, moving on. We are
President,
on.
if I could just interject,
Yes.
I just want to, Lisa's been really working really hard, working with the ski loons and also with Rice Lake, that lake association. And it's just been going really well. They want to be more involved. And I think even on the cleaning event on the 21st, we're going to be getting them involved also. So I just want to say thank you to Lisa in coordinating those, that endeavor with those two groups.
Great
Thank
job,
you,
Lisa.
Lisa. All right, 8D, grand opening at JC's Park.
Thank you, Mr. President. So here, again, we want to highlight our successes. And I think the JC Park will be ready probably in sometime in late June, early July for a grand opening. And I thought about having like a soccer game on that soccer field. But any type of event we could do would be great there. We'd be obviously inviting our partners, the YMCA, the BBBA, and just the community actions, getting involved with their baseball also. So just a lot of different ideas and just wanted to get where the board would like to do regarding the grand opening at JC's also.
I think most importantly, when is all the work going to be done?
Regarding the leveling of the ice rink. with
Leveling of
next
the ice
couple
rink,
weeks.
service road, grass on the soccer field, all that. When do we anticipate being able to
The
look out
grass
and be
is
like,
coming
yep,
in
we're
really
done?
well. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're good. Yeah, when do we plan on being able to look out there and say we're done? So
It would be in the, because we already received the fencing bid and he is willing to do that within the next 2-3 weeks. So probably in middle of July, sort of like the Lum Park one would be good.
Is there still fencing that's happening?
The gate.
I think it just means the gate.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the gate has to be installed.
I figured we had.
Kara?
So when we talked about this earlier, we were talking that maybe everything wouldn't be ready until the fall, because we had just said maybe we could do Great Pumpkin there, which I know was just like throwing that out there. But how did it change so much in the last month that now we were talking the fall, it was gonna be ready, and now it's gonna, like the grass specifically? Do you guys remember this?
The grass technically after the third or fourth mow, the roots will be rooted. I just wanted to be safe and say mid-July.
What about grass on the pleasure rink, Phil? Would that need time to get established?
That will not developed yet.
I do like the idea of the Great Pumpkin Festival there.
I like a fall time too.
Yeah.
I think it'll allow time for everything to get finished, like to your point. Be able to look out there and say, yep, we're done. Rather than having just a seated area, and we know it's not gonna be growing in the middle of summer, so.
Do we want to take action on this now or wait and see how the projects progress before we decide that that's the next step for our
We could
grand
just
opening
come to
there?
a consensus maybe that the Great Pumpkin Festival we think is probably the best date to shoot for, and shoot for having it out there, and then we can take action on it once midsummer rolls around. That's, I guess, my thoughts.
I like that a ton as well.
Maybe if the Y is willing to do like a soccer clinic or a game, to your point, Mike, that'd be cool too. Could have an orange soccer ball, call it a pumpkin.
Or kick a pumpkin.
I was actually thinking the park board versus the city council.
Oh,
You have Kevin Yeager in the crowd here. He just rolled his eyes.
No, those guys would get creamed.
I think they get
Yeah,
creamed.
they would be destroyed, yeah.
Well, staff could help out the city council.
That's not fair.
Okay, any other discussion on JC's Park? Okay, we will revisit that later. Moving on to item 8E, Lum Park cleanup on June 21st.
So yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the National Guards coming into town with 30 to 40 gentlemen willing to do a major service project. With Lumpart Beach being a major project for the park board, I thought I'd line those two individuals up and then just complete the beach and that whole park really cleaned up well. We also have the disc golf that needs some improvements with the branches and just some improvements over there. I thought it'd be nice to put all those individuals over there. We could even go as far as saying to the whole community, help us clean up Lum Park and the beach and have it a big festive event. So just looking for guidance regarding that event. We could keep it very small, very structured with those National Guard individuals. We would be asking the Rice Lake Association to bring in a dumpster so that we could clean up in that dumpster. We could have some of our trucks there also. It's just something that I thought would really bring a lot of the community involvement and make a nice family event.
Yes, Paul.
Mike, I guess my only question is, would you be concerned about having enough to do for 40 National Guard personnel? For, I don't know how
Right.
long you're planning on, but, you know, is there like a list of items that you know need to get done? Is there certain things that the park board is gonna have to purchase to help accommodate them doing improvements? Are they gonna be painting something, or, you know, what's kind of the scope of work, I'll call it? Because I think keeping 40 people busy, especially probably a bunch of fit National Guardsmen or women, is going to be interesting. You know, I've done these type of things before, and it's hard to keep, you know, 20 people busy for an extended period of time. So that's just, I don't know if you have a list in your head or if there's other things that we can think of as a board that can help keep them busy. Do we have them deliver a load of sand and truck it to the beach, or whatever that may be? You know, just thoughts, I guess.
Right. So I met with Troy and we did come up with a list, especially, you know, first the beach really needs to be really honed in. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on those edges. They have never been really cleaned up to the level that they could be. And then we could look at the other, bringing in other fill or whatnot. And so I think the beach would be the primary of it, at least 2 to 3 hours of that. And then looking at maybe a lunch, and then going on to the disc golf, and then the campground area, just cleaning up a lot of the brush that goes into the woods, just getting that stuff and then picking up all of that. It's just a big park, and I think we need to look at cleaning it up a little bit more.
I don't think we need any more than the National Guard.
No,
I think we keep it small.
yeah, I think if you open it up to the public, you might have a little more of a problem trying to keep a lot of people busy, and then it becomes a little bit like herding cats, which is
Right.
quite challenging.
I like the idea. I think we just keep it small and have Mike develop a list beforehand.
Is that a motion? Oh, you can't make motions, right?
I shouldn't.
I'll make a motion to approve this park day, or this cleanup day with the National Guard on Saturday, June 21st.
I will second.
I have a motion from Karen, a second from Jonathan. Any further discussion?
Just one clarification, can we ask Mike to provide that list at the next meeting so we can take a look at it, and then maybe all of us can think about it a little bit too, maybe drive through?
I think it'll have happened.
Oh, you're right.
Have him send it out.
It is May, isn't it? Yeah, maybe just send it out in an email, Mike.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Clean up on June 21st. All right, 8F, approval for Lions Club to seek grants for funding of Buffalo Hills Lions Park.
Thank you, Mr. President. It has been an absolute pleasure working with the Lions Club. They are a strong organization in Brainerd, and it's just been really a delightful working and getting to know these individuals in this group. They're very passionate about Buffalo Hills Lions Park, and they want to just enhance it. We've been working on different ideas, and I've been meeting with Dave.
I hope I didn't overwhelm you. We're very excited about Buffalo Hills Park. You know, I think it's been kind of a diamond in the rough, if you will, on the south side of Brainerd. Been there for a long time, but been kind of neglected. And we just feel like this is the time to really, you know, swing for the fence, if you will, and turn this into a destination park. We've continued since the last meeting when I was here to talk to folks, look for fundraising opportunities. But obviously we need the park board's approval to do anything formal. There are grants available through the Lions we're aware of. The district, which roughly reaches from Wadena to Garrison and Grand Rapids to Little Falls, has a gentleman who's sort of become passionate about all-inclusive parks. He's worked with International Lions on funding for these kinds of projects before. So we've got some resources that we can use. We've found a grant writer who's willing to work with us. So we continue to plow the ground, but we need formal approval to go to move ahead. In addition, we'd like to be able to work with one of the most esteemed people on the city council, whose name is Jaeger, I think, who I understand might have something to do with a master plan, to try to draw up a new plan that shows some of the ideas that we have for a pickleball court and adaptive play set, excuse me. We're also kind of toying with the idea of perhaps a 5K run, that there might be enough room there to put in a path, and that would be then a source of revenue for the park to deal with maintenance issues. The club just recently approved $10,000 to go into a new fund that we'll set up with the city for maintenance, because clearly when we are successful in updating the park, it's going to need funds for continued maintenance. So that's what we're bringing forward, is just looking for that opportunity to move forward. Questions?
How does that grant writer process work?
Mr. President, if I could chime in and answer that question?
Yes.
So with Sourcewell, they also have what they call a grant initiator. And this is a grant that the city would apply for, and we would receive it. It's either $5,000 or $10,000, and we would then use those funds to pay for someone to write grants on our behalf. In this case, it may be the Lions Club or someone else, but the city of Brainerd would initiate that grant to pay someone to write a formal grant for a pickleball complex, for a legacy trail like Dave was talking about, or whatever it is that we would like to do there. That is not a guarantee. It is just one option.
But certainly having a professional grant writer, increases the odds of being approved for the grant, as opposed to somebody like me.
So maybe like process-wise, so like Kevin would work with the park board on drawing, just to be competitive in a grant atmosphere, right?
How much of the grant applies to design work? I would volunteer gratis work on the design work, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just thinking process-wise, to be competitive for a grant, you usually want to have some sort of master plan document
Yes.
prepared so that you can attach that to the application. So, like process-wise, in my mind, it's you need to master plan first, have the amenities you want to apply for outlined in that master plan, hire or get the grant with the grant writer, have the grant writer work on the specific amenities, whatever the funding source is, right? And so I'm all for this. It's great.
And I'm just super appreciative that you brought the maintenance side of this as well, because I think, again, that's the primary concern. A lot of this, like, we love free money, we love to build amenities on somebody else's dime, absolutely, but maintaining it on our, and on the taxpayers' dime is always a difficult sell. So coming in with a strategy, at least in the short term, to fund that and keep a balance is great. And I really appreciate that.
Kara?
Super excited, thank you. Do you know when the grant window is? Is it open now? How long, like, when does that window open, close? So we know how much time we have for the, master planning, just that prep work?
Oh, that's a great question. It depends, I'm afraid to say. There are a number of different grant opportunities. The one with the Lions is funded in October. So we've got, a little bit of a window here to draw up a master plan, get everybody nodding their heads, and so we move forward that way. But then we're also looking at, Essentia and the Bremer Foundation and Blandon and the Brainerd Community Foundation.
Gates Foundation.
The Gates Foundation. I mean, there are lots of them, and they're going to have a whole variety of dates when we need to file.
Source wells are usually like a rolling fund, and so I don't think there's usually ever,
No.
maybe I'm wrong about this one, but that one's just usually apply and they look at it and they give it to you or not.
And I suppose kind of the nice part of having a grant writer as well.
Yeah, they'd be able
Because
to
they
manage
can-
all that.
Yes.
So,
'Cause just like depending on when, then you might have to spend some money by, 2 years, or you have like 6 months, or, whatever. So
Sure.
just like managing that piece of it would be nice to have someone else doing for you. Because it's a lot, yeah.
It is a lot. Lots of hoops.
Do you have your question answered, or?
I will just add, the current master plan we have does include a walking trail and a pickleball complex. So hopefully it's not too much revision
yeah,
yet.
just hit the eraser and.
I hope not, yeah. That would be great.
Start from square one, Kevin. We don't like any of it.
Oh, God.
Never heard that before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we have the foundation started already, so.
It's close already. I think it's just probably a footprint for the play area, and then, other adjustments walking wise and inclusivity, so.
Andrew?
One other thing.
Nope, nope, I was just gonna make a motion. So.
We do need to spend the money on the playground this year. So I think we probably need to decide if that's where the playground's going fairly soon, so we can get that ordered and installed yet this year. So just something to be aware. I think this is lovely, but we did commit to the council that we're going to spend that money on a playground at Buffalo Hills, or Lions Park, as I think it may be soon called. So just something for us to keep in mind as we look at grants, we look at a new master plan. I think we want to get some certainty and general agreement on where that playground's going sooner than later.
So how will that work, though, if their plans are to get a all-inclusive one? Or the inclusive?
Yeah, just discussion item. I don't like the idea of spending money just to spend it. That doesn't seem like a use of resources, but I'd be open to discussing if there's an option to shift that playground to another park, knowing that we have one coming to Buffalo Hills Lions Park. But I will not be in support of just spending the money knowing that in a year or two, we're just gonna do a new playground at that same park.
I think it would be.
Mr. President?
Yes.
One option is, several options here. At Memorial Park, that playground there does need to be replaced, and it's not in the budget or in that replacement plan for, I think it was 28 or 29. So that's one option, we could do that. The other option is we could just table that money until, and that could be matching funds, if you will, for the grant. And that would make our grant even stronger going into the grant proposal process. When you have a master plan and you have matching funds, it makes your grant application extremely strong. just an option to consider.
Yeah, very tough because I mean this is like one of the first years that we're implementing this spending strategy, and so to pull back on what we've done. I understand the repurposing, but and maybe trying to move it or hold on to it type thing. Yeah, it's tough. I think that does need to be a discussion because I just don't want to go in front of the council every year and be like, hey, by the way, we want some of this money, and then actually, you know what? Hang on to it a little longer for us. Again, love the plan, want to do it, but yeah, we have earmarked that money, and I don't know if we can just explain away that we want to hold on to it any longer. So because that kind of foils the strategy. So
Yeah, and I think there's a way to put a playground there and then add on accessible aspects going forward as we get grants and additional money. So we have the playground and then you add the, what's that surface?
Kind of like a phase plan, more or less, where you kind of get the bones of it replaced, and then you can write that into your application that the city has already made investments into this playground. Here's the amenities that we would like to add, or a different surface type, or whatever it is. Call it a phase 2 and a phase 3, and just plan for the space, right? And then put up a section of it, and then add on to it as you go.
I suspect some vendors would be happy to say, hey, here's what you can get with the money we have saved. And then, right, the Lions want to contribute 80, maybe more, right? Some add alternates. Say, hey, we're going to build this, and then these tack on nicely. I think there's a way we could plan that out to keep ourselves out of trouble, but still work with your vision of, right? Because grants are going to, I assume, roll in over the next few years, and so it won't be you sneeze and, right?
That's the goal.
Next
Yep.
year, so.
I like that plan.
yeah, very good.
Any other discussion about the grant writer process? If not, I'll entertain a motion for that.
I will make a motion to approve of the city to apply for the Sourcewell grant writing grant, and allow city staff to make that application to Sourcewell.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
Would
The update.
Mr. President,
Andrew first. I heard Andrew first. My brain was there.
like a quick groan, yeah. It's gonna make noises, yeah.
would discussing the playground fall under our next agenda item? I think that's more just about the naming, right? So maybe I would want to make a second motion after this motion about the playground and kind of our next steps on that. So maybe I'll hold it for after we vote on this. If that makes sense.
I mean, we do probably need to update the master plan before we approve, since that was kind of.
That's true. That was my idea.
I know Kevin's already working on it, but, but I think, on top of that motion, I think we do need to have the
Yeah,
master plan
I'll-
updated formally.
I'll make that friendly amendment.
You're amending that we need the master plan first? Okay, yep, I'll second that still.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to amend the motion for the master plan first. Any other discussion about the master plan?
I think Mike had something.
I would just like to ask the board to give the Lions Club permission to go out for grants also. We, the city, will go out and get the Sourcewell one. Then the Lions Club will need that approval to go out and get other grants. Big grants for actually to the playground, the pickleball, and so forth.
Would that come at a later date?
I think we have to, in order for us to allow them to do that, I think we have to have an approval of what we want the park to look like still. I think in order for that to happen,
I would agree with that.
I mean, I'd like to say, let's fire away, but
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Kevin Yeager here. I just want to chime in just a little bit of the design, what this process might look like to get from where we are today to a more formal master plan. So design consult would be first. That'd be a kickoff meeting with all the key stakeholders. So if it's Lions, if it's you guys, whoever it is, but we would need some version of a design kickoff where we look at our current plan, talk about what we're changing. That will put me back in motion in my office to then come back about a month later with a presentation of a conceptual plan. Typically, that conceptual plan, you will have had already chance to look at it. We can talk about revisions to that conceptual plan. About another month after that, we can come back with a kind of a final or 80% master plan. So it's probably a 3-month process with at least 2-month process with 3 meetings to get from where we are today to a place where people are happy with moving forward with something. So if we want to get it on the calendar and start working on it, we should think about it. But I'm happy to do it.
Yes.
Do we have a special meeting? We meet at Buffalo Hills. We love special meetings, remember, Kevin?
Yes, and for the record, this will be the last park board meeting I ever attend. No, just kidding.
Okay, all right, so we have, first we need to do the amendment, which is the master plan to the original motion. Do we have any other discussion about that? Seeing none, all those in favor of amending the original motion to include master plan design first, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same side. Motion carries. So our motion is the design of the master plan first, as well as the city applying for the Sourcewell grant on, for the
After
city's
that process
behalf.
is done.
After that.
So moved.
I think,
We already have that motion.
yeah, so, yeah, discussion on that, I think to Mike's point, I think the original agenda item was to just allow, like, kind of basically tell the Lions that they are free to move forward with this, based on this. I mean, of course, yeah, we need the master plan to be completed, but just to say, okay, yes, if the design matches what the vision is, we're cool with it, I think is where we're, to Mike's point, what we need in our motion. Because, yeah, they're the ones like going out, we got to kind of say, yes, you can use the space. Go find some money and we'll build your thing. Instead of just the city applying for the, oh, wait. Oh, okay, so yeah, the second half of that was approve Lions Club to apply for grants and fundraising. So, yeah, it was a 2-parter in this agenda item. So to approve the city to apply for the Sourcewell grant, to hire a grant writer, and then the second half would be to approve the Lions Club to apply for grants and fundraising. So, step 1, master plan revision. Step 2 and 3, let the city apply for a grant to hire a grant writer. And step 2.5, also approve the Lions Club to seek grants and fundraising. After the master plan change is completed. So that's the only thing we're missing, is just to get the Lions to go ahead. The motion includes the city to go ahead, but the Lions
I
Club.
think we just vote on that. I want to make a second one.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Okay, any other discussion on the original motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I'll make a motion to allow the Lions Club to seek out funds and grants for amenities per the approved master plan once that time comes.
Second,
Oh,
as your partner.
yeah. Okay, second that.
Motion by Paul, second by Kara. Do we have any other discussion on the Lions Club seeking additional fundraising? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 8G, request to change name of Buffalo Hills Lions Park to Lions Park.
One thing on the previous item. I think we're gonna need to kind of work in parallel to get the playground
Dates.
ordered and spent this year. I'm just thinking, right? So June, July, August. August we have a move maybe to ask staff to solicit bids for playground equipment, given our current budget, with add alternates for accessible equipment per the design meeting after the kickoff with the Lions Club and Councilmember Yeager, so that we can keep them moving, even though we're not meeting again for a month.
June 10th in the afternoon for the kickoff meeting.
I was just gonna say that.
And then I could have the conceptual ready for you at your 24th meeting.
What time on the 10th? Early afternoon?
4 would be ideal. Or earlier than, we have the 11 o'clock groundbreaking for Country Manor. I'm a little fuzzy on how long that's going to take. 2 hours? Okay. As early as 2.
I'm only available until 3:30, so I would have to bail then.
2?
Does that work for the Lions, though? Do they need to be there, right?
He's checking.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
You name it, we're there.
June 10th,
That work for
2
you?
p.m.
Bring your ideas to that meeting. Be prepared.
Are we having it at the park then?
I think so. It's all, we can bring the plans, but there's no reason we can't have it at the park.
We can meet in the little gazebo there.
Yep. As long as there's hot dogs.
We can meet on the berm.
As long as, yeah, we can, no, because the grass will not be there yet.
Hydro seated.
Trespassing, Paul.
Okay, so 2 o'clock?
Yes.
You'll need to adjourn to that meeting, but I'll be ready.
Okay. 8G, name change of Buffalo Hills Lions Park.
Again, at the last meeting, there was a letter. Hopefully, you've all received a copy of it. And we have, as you all know, lots of parks. We have, and then I go speechless. We have Kiwanis Park and J.C.'s Park and Rotary Park. And in this case, we're hoping that this can become a project that's bigger than just the Brainerd Lions. That there's a community here that stretches from, Baxter to Merrifield and from Nisswa to probably Brainerd anyway. We've talked to a couple of those clubs who would be interested in the idea of having a Lions Park, not just Brainerd Lions Park, but Lions Park. And so we're soliciting the park board to work with us and change the name, just drop the Buffalo Hills and just call it Lions Park.
Discussion? Kara?
So we just replaced the sign. Could we caveat as an option that if we were to approve it, that you would buy the city a new sign that would have your name on it? I don't know how much that is, Mike, but that would be one thing because we just replaced that sign like this last fall. And yeah, so that would be one piece.
Big Sharpie.
Yeah. Just make a big X.
Nice spray paint. Yeah.
Mike, and I think we would probably need to do some research too, because I think the city council recently went through a full designation of our actual park areas after we decided which parks the park board wants to hold on to and which ones we were okay with saying, okay, we don't really need those areas. And so that resolution is probably somewhere at City Hall, and if we change the name of a park, I'm assuming we're gonna have to have a new resolution that changes the name
Correct.
of that park. Formality.
Correct. We would.
So maybe we need to bring this to council and say, hey, y'all cool with this? And then
It probably would be in the best interest of direction to just say that we're cool with it, so that when it comes in front of council, then they know that we're cool with it.
Yeah, just a point here. Buffalo was not on the list of the parks that were participants in that resolution, so Buffalo currently is not.
What does that mean?
not actually parkland.
Sneak.
Oh, it's not?
On the 23 resolution.
So,
City council would have to approve the change because it's not our park.
Yeah. As far as I see it.
Wow.
Mike, could you add this? Well,
Trouble now.
yeah, what does that even mean?
Mike, can you bring that to the council?
Yes, I can put that. Would the park board like to make a recommendation to the council?
I guess I'm curious, why wasn't that one included? Do you know? Was it just omitted? Was that my fault? I don't even know.
This is purely conjecture, but there were a number of parks that were being looked at for other land use other than specifically just park use. Gustafson, Buffalo, Trailside, there were several of them that I'm
Yeah,
purely
I
conjecture,
remember
but I
that
believe
now.
that was the impetus for leaving some of those parks out of the dedication.
Because there's a portion of Buffalo Hills Park.
Correct.
Behind there that has a bunch of vacant land. And that's probably purposeful of leaving that one off. So I think we just want to control what is actually the park space right now, or do we bring back the discussion of the whole parcel to the north, given that the master plan might include amenities in that portion? I think there's a whole nother discussion here.
Can we actually give them permission to apply for grants then?
Not really.
I guess we're doing the master plan anyway, so that's fine for now.
The park board does have control over other lands designated by the council.
That's my understanding, yes, boulevards and other spaces, yes.
So that would be under us. But I would still like the council's input on name changes.
Name changes and actually designating it back to the park board, whatever land they want to
Yes.
give us, right? If it's the
Yes.
full thing, or if it's half of it that's actually developed right now as a park, or whatever that might look like.
Yes. Very good.
I would move the park board recommends to the council that we change the name of Buffalo Hills Lions Park to Lions Park.
And that we asked the
Oh,
council
and-
to formally designate Lions Park as under the jurisdiction of the park board.
Yes, and we ask them to designate whatever land they feel appropriate to Lions Park.
I do want to add though about the sign. I mean, not that, I don't know, I just feel like we just spent a lot of money and it was like on our, we had to budget for a sign, right? I don't know. Was it like $5,000? I don't know. But like, if we need to rename it, where will that money come from? Do we have 5,000 laying around? Just throwing it out
I
there.
think that warrants some more research, might just be to switch the panel out
Oh, okay.
between the
So it
two
won't be
posts,
like-
so it won't be like the full cost, it might just be the
Okay,
panel in between.
okay.
I think,
Park.
They don't want to
if
put
I
their name
may.
on it until it's all done anyway.
well, I think if the council approved it, we would be more than happy to come alongside the city and figure out what to do about the sign.
All right, so I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second,
Yeah.
do we know what the motion is?
The motion was to bring it to the council and recommend the name change and designate whatever land they feel appropriate to parks.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 8H, discussion of girls' fall softball program.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the community ed canceling the girls softball program, several phone calls later, we were able to work with the YMCA, and the YMCA is agreeing to start something in August after their other programs have concluded. They just don't have enough staff to get something started right now. So, but they are willing to start something in August, going into September, and then to have some type of girls softball program. And that is pretty much all the information I have. The YMCA is again just excited to expand their programs to take this on and provide a good activity for youth girls.
Okay, I have something.
Karen?
All right, so I was approached by Emily, who you guys know her from, she's the one who was part of the splash pad. She shared with me the email that she received from Community Ed, and just, they're apologizing that it has to be canceled. But I guess there's a couple of things with this. I know when I reached out to Mike, you guys said you hadn't heard yet that this program was canceled, and the people are finding, the people that are signed up, that's good, they're finding out, but then we hired them to, do this program, yet we weren't even told that this was gonna be canceled. There was no option either. It was just oh, sorry, we don't really have anybody else. Maybe they can join, Fast Pitch or whatever. But that doesn't work if they're looking to do slow pitch. So now what do these kids do? These like 5th and 6th grade girls, you know, they want to play. They had 2 teams, so it was kind of a bummer that they did not say, hey, well, let's do a clinic, let's do something. They just were like, sorry, we're not doing anything. So I know Emily got a hold of some of the other parents, and she is willing to do like a clinic, like 1 night a week, she said. And so I don't know how that works, if we can support that, if that can be something that we do as, like, she can just use the field. It's not gonna be like under Parks and Rec, but I just know that her daughter also hung up signs at Forest View to be like, hey, my mom's gonna do this. And then she got in some trouble at Forest View because it wasn't approved. And so it was just like, she's really trying, and there are kids that are interested. But it just is a bummer because it all falls back on us, right? We are like paying Community Ed to do this. I don't know what kind of communication you've received, Mike, but this is just like a huge bummer for the Brainerd Parks and the girls that really want to play. And from this email, it sounds like the Pony League was also canceled, which, what about those guys, those kids? You know, it sounds like last summer maybe something was canceled. Like, I just feel like, you know, I didn't know, I don't have kids, so maybe you guys, I just feel like we should really know more about this if this is like, if this was a program that's representing us as the Brainerd Parks and Rec. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, if you guys knew.
I feel pretty strongly in a negative way about this, because I feel like every year that we're presented this, their numbers are dwindling every year, and there is a symptom of travel baseball. They just haven't been adaptive to the solution, and now it's kind of all coming to head because they can't keep enough folks. And yeah, we subsidize this program, so yeah, it is a huge bummer when, you know, this particular organization is kind of a reflection on our area sports. So it was a huge bummer to see that they had canceled girls softball too, knowing about the Pony League early on, and then having them come and present and, you know, asking them about some of those issues. Yeah, it was a huge problem. And I think, yeah, we're going to be in this state now for a little bit, where these kids aren't going to have anything to do, you know, to hone up. So I think, you know, call on the community, and of course the YMCA, because they've always kind of picked up the slack, but calling on the community and being able to assist the community whenever they want to try to pick some of the slack up is going to be huge, because it's just, yeah, let's see what next year looks like for Community Ed, but this is, again, a huge bummer. I mean, it's been a lot of, like, one of the main things for us was communication with city staff and the rec specialists, just to keep them in the loop on all these things. And this just wasn't even a conversation where maybe even the city could have promoted these particular. I mean, you know, it's our money going into this. Why can't we kick in a little bit of our staff time or whatever to try to at least advertise or move things around to try to fill some of these things for our community? So, kind of like I said, just kind of an all around failure in my opinion, marketing and communication, and then no foresight. So yeah, huge bummer. I'm with you. Paul?
I kind of look back at the contractual. Every year we get into a contract with Community Ed, YMCA. They will provide these programs for the park board, for the city of Brainerd. I would like, I guess, Mike, to maybe ask the city attorney what repercussions there are for not providing the programs that are explicitly stated in our agreements with these organizations. If it's a financial pullback on payment, if they're not performing the service that we agreed to at the beginning of the year, that seems like the best option. Is that if you're not going to provide the programs that we are paying you financially for, then what repercussion is there? Why are we entering into an agreement in the first place? And so I guess that would be my ask, and to at least look at those agreements and see what kind of repercussions there are. Without the communication. If there was communication, like, hey, we're not seeing the numbers we need to, it doesn't make financial sense, whatever, let's modify the agreement next year. But like, to just say we're canceled and no one hear about it except through an email, third party, that's a little bit hard to swallow.
And it, again, working through it in good faith as well, and just saying, look, the program isn't filling up. You know, we got to make some adjustments. So the thing that's in our agreement isn't going to. We just can't make it happen. But we're going to do this instead, or we've got some other alternatives that we're exploring. those types of things wouldn't, again, that wouldn't be, I wouldn't be so sour on this if I felt like there was an attempt to spend our money a little bit better. There just, to me, there wasn't. So, again, yeah, huge.
I just have something else. So, I mean, there was 2 teams, so that's like, I don't know, 16 girls. I'm just gonna say that number, I don't know. But what are those girls gonna do now? I mean, I get it, they can find other things. It was 2 nights a week, but that's where I think it would be really important if Emily, I mean, I just chatted with her yesterday again to confirm, but she's willing to like host and do something one of the days when they would have already been at Buffalo Hills, if it's like Monday or Wednesday. So, you know, if we can just like, you guys probably have to talk to her, but if they can have that field that they would have already had reserved on one of those nights, and she can hold some clinics, or, because that's like what I feel like Community Ed should have offered too. It's like, at least get the girls out there playing. I mean, it's only a couple hours, but keep them out of trouble, like get their passion up for, you know, continue that drive for being outside and playing softball. I feel like we need to have something that we like come back to our community with. The pony stuff, I don't know, I haven't personally heard about that, if there was anyone even registered or not, but like, I feel like if Community Ed doesn't have an option, like, we need to, which I appreciate that the Y, of course, that they are stepping in, but not until August. So it would be nice to have something before then, in my opinion.
I would make the
Mr.
offer that,
President?
Paul, why don't you finish?
I would just say, I would just throw it out there. Maybe it's best if we research this, if we pull back some of the funds that we committed to because the contract, their end of the contract isn't being held up per se, whether that's their fault or not, that maybe we can look at diverting, if someone does put on a clinic of some sort or something, that we can take those funds that we kind of pull back from our agreement with Community Ed and push those forward to someone that's actually willing to put something on if they have financial implications that are involved with it.
Mike?
Yes, thank you. First, regarding the Pony League, I've already reached out to Corey with BBBA, and he is working on contacting those individuals to get them on a team. Regarding the contract, I've already have notes set aside for regarding these type of contracts. One, it should be a dollar amount for every activity. And then also we need to look at some of those other things such as lining the field, and there's a lot of staff time that our staff are putting into their program when they could be doing this. We provide all of the measures for them to be, we provide above and beyond what we should be. But regarding the contract, I do want to talk about that, but probably at a later date. And so then going to the girls softball, we can definitely work on a flyer, Kara, to make that official, if you will. And yes, we can give them their fields to have their programs. And I know the YMCA would also be involved with those daily or weekly clinics, if you will, until the softball league starts.
So I think discussion has gone to directing staff to work with, is it Emily?
I can give you her contact information.
On some options, and then further discussion about contract implications. Is that where our discussion is headed? Mm-hmm. Okay. I would entertain any further discussion or motion. Andrew?
I think I would like to try to work with the Y on this as well. Maybe have Emily partner with them just to see if they could maybe take this program over going forward. I think we're seeing, right, a couple challenges with Community Ed. And so if we can have a clinic this year with Emily and the YMCA partnering and say, yeah, we're comfortable having that next year, that takes one more thing we have to worry about off our plate in looking at the contracts. So that'd be my only thing. But
Does anyone have a motion they want to make?
I'll make the motion. No, I don't remember what I'm making a motion for. I will make a motion to direct staff to,
Work directly with Emily
Yep.
LeClaire on
thanks, Paul.
softball clinics up until the YMCA is able to take over some sort of season for girls softball, and further to have the city attorney and Mike review the contracts and what potential financial ramifications we might have built in there, to pull back some of that funding.
Yeah, I'll second that then.
I have a motion by Paul and a second by Kara.
I just took over for you, sorry.
With words.
Any other further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to everyone in the audience's favorite time, the public forum. This is the time allocated for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the board, depending on how many time limits may be imposed. I will open the public forum at 5:21 p.m.
Wayne, do you need anything?
I was waiting for the battle.
Oh, good evening, guys. Kevin Yeager, 325 Bluff Avenue, Brainerd.
Eric Charpentier, Brainerd HRA, 324 East River Road.
We just wanted to come before you here, just begin a conversation. We feel that you guys might be the starting point on this. I'm here representing a couple different entities. One, I serve as the chair on the EDA. I'm not the chair, but I do serve on the HRA as well. And some of our earlier dialogue actually kind of tied into what we're going to be at least beginning the conversation on. At the HRA, if you're unfamiliar with what we do, it's the Housing Redevelopment Authority. We work with partners, community partners, as well as our own institution to help house the people of Brainerd. And we have a very similar appetite as a part of the work that we do with the EDA. So you're asking where you guys come in. The conversation has begun to percolate that what we really need most, or what is a critical part of what both institutions do, is land, specifically buildable land lots that are within the city of Brainerd. We are not asking you to give us land. We're not asking for any of that at this time. I would like to just start the conversation and see if there is any appetite that you guys have that is similar to us with what you would do with some of your land lots specifically that are inside the city of Brainerd, and potentially have a better use or a different use other than parkland. So what has been mostly discussed here recently would be parcels such as Gustafson, even though Gustafson is not one of the land lots that was deeded or deemed as a specific parkland. I feel like the conversation needs to start with you guys, because it'll get kicked back to you virtually instantly if this dialogue does go any further. So just simply out of a matter of respect and just kind of getting you in the loop of what is beginning to be talked about a little bit is I would simply ask that if possible to put this on a future agenda just to see if you guys do have any parallel thought with us with some of the land that you might have inside the city of Brainerd for other development that maybe is a better fit and would potentially reduce some of your empire to maintain moving forward. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Charpentier. He is far more savvy than I am at this kind of thing, and is much better with figures and data. So I'm going to let him talk.
Thank you, Councilman Yeager, and thank you, Park Board, for just giving us a couple minutes at open forum tonight. Again, as Kevin said, we don't have a plan per se yet, but we do know that there are needs in the city. Number one, housing. Number two, childcare. And those are two big pillars that will help us continue to grow, continue to bring in employers, and to be able to employ people in the city of Brainerd. As we look at available land for development, potential development, we always look, at least from the HRA's perspective, and we are serving typically the lowest of income earners for housing, but we also work on redevelopment initiatives that are more market-driven housing rates as well. So it's not just the low to moderate income, it is certainly the workforce housing that we are looking at as well. I would say that what we continue to see as an impediment to development is the land costs. Those are things that we can help bring in developers if we can get that land at a more reasonable rate. If there are utilities close by, that particular parcel that Mr. Yeager shared, Gustafson Park, has those types of utilities that are right there, right stub to it. That brings down that cost of development, and that's why we are looking at potential available parcels. We're looking at other parcels that the city of Brainerd proper owns to see if there's opportunities for us to do that. As Councilman Yeager stated, we are just looking to start the discussion. A lot of discussion would need to be had, certainly between the park board, city council, HRA board, EDA board, a lot of different players in this, but we at least wanted to come to you, broach the idea, and I would welcome having an agenda item out there that we could talk a little bit deeper if there's any interest. And it's not just one parcel. It would be any land that potentially is available that you'd be looking at. And with that, I guess that's all I would like to say.
That's all. Thank you so much for everything that you could do, guys. Really appreciate it. Any questions for us?
Yeah, we talked about this, right? Like last year, maybe 18 months ago.
It's been talked about in different conversations at different parks also over the last, since I've been on the park board, it's been talked about. So I know that one of the things that when I started on the park board is we looked at is just the massive amount of land that you guys have to maintain and to think about comparatively to other cities our size. And I seem to remember Brainerd being like number 3 per capita per acreage owned by parks in the entire state, something like that. So we're not asking to be gifted anything. We're just asking to see if there is a parallel mindset that happens to be of benefit for the entire city. HRA. EDA city.
Even
also.
given my time here, I think that was part of why I felt like they undesignated certain parcels, right? During this, at
Trailside
least
Park,
yeah.
all
Those
in
are,
there.
I think, in that sort of bucket because of that parallel thought. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I would fully support it being a future discussion item on an agenda.
Okay, great.
Andrew?
I think just if you have a list of items, or do you want us to?
We could certainly kick it to your chair. If you're thinking, whatever meeting you're thinking of, we could put just a basic top discussion item on there and maybe some supporting data, just to get the ball rolling. That's all.
Be awesome.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Do we have anyone else for the public forum? Seeing none, I will close the public forum at 5:28 PM. Moving on, item 10, staff reports. Do we have any verbal reports since the packet?
No, I think the only thing is just the fishing clinic that we had. I just want to do a shout out to Caleb. We had 8 sponsors at this event, so that was just huge. We had over 130 individuals there, and it was just a big success. I wasn't able to attend, but she did a great job, and just wanted to do a shout out to her.
Kayla's not here, but a shout out to Kayla. Okay. And moving on, then, we will go to number 11, board member reports. We'll start down your end, Paul.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Jonathan?
Nothing to report.
Trent, I don't have anything going on either. Andrew?
Bad news. I have a couple of questions. From our workshop, I know, I'm not saying I want the fancy tracker that the council has, because that seems like a lot. But is there any kind of ongoing updates on those priorities or kind of action items completed towards them? I know it's just been a couple weeks, so I'm not like, what have you done? But like, how can we make sure we keep that in focus as we move forward?
Yes, thank you. We are making those into our working documents, so like a working action plan, so that we do make sure that we complete them, such as earlier, that cleanup project with the National Guard and connecting those dots to one of the priorities at Lum Park Beach, and we connect those. So it is going to be a working in progress. I can have something for the next park board meeting that has more action items directly related to completion.
That'd be great. Thank you. The other thing is pretty small. There's a couple new benches in Gregory. It's great. They have the cement pads. But there's just a pile of dirt around them, so they actually look worse than our old design standard for benches. I know our design standards mention reseeding after construction is complete. If I know we're getting into the warmer season, but if we can do something that looks just real bad, like, oh, here's this brand new bench and then barren dirt and like a which makes sense, right? You have to get the grass out to put the cement in. But just, I think following through, right, it makes kind of the fit and finish, the curb appeal of the park just hurts it a little bit.
So are you specifically indicating doing some seeding of grass? Is that what, I didn't look at it, I just know that they were installed.
Yeah, so there's kind of a dirt patch around the new cement pad. And just once that cement is cured and right, it's ready to go, just reseeding so we've got an attempt at grass at least around the bench.
Yes, we can complete that.
That's it for me. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Seeing no other board member reports, we would move on to item 12 for a motion for adjournment.
I will make a motion to adjourn
Do we have to adjourn to our June
to the June
10th?
10th, 2 p.m. design
At
meeting
Buffalo Hills
at Buffalo Hills Lions Park.
Motion to adjourn to that. Do I have a second?
Second. I'll second my own motion. I don't know who made that, but
But yeah.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
design thing, majig, whatever we're